Hey, what is up, you guys? I just wrapped up kind of my reorientation at Jiminy Kids because we got the okay over the weekend that if you guys have or haven't heard that gyms, sports clubs and such can reopen. Obviously modified, but you know, I love me some modifications. But anyway, yeah. So we just wrapped up orientation, and it was basically just going over procedures on how to just basically basically how we're gonna have to change things up, which in a way wasn't really all that different from how we were doing it. Obvious difference is just, like I said, obviously some social distancing. We can't have as many people in the gym as we normally do, which is gonna be an adjustment, but we're gonna make it work. We're not gonna go straight into doing classes. We're actually doing camps. So that's kind of what we went over today. I'm still gonna be doing the Zoom classes. Unfortunately, because we're coming back, we're not doing the Instagram live videos anymore. At least not on Jiminy Kids. If you guys want me to keep doing Instagram lessons on live, feel free to comment down below or hit me up on my Instagram. But yeah, we're gonna be doing camps, so things will finally somewhat going back to normal. I mean, not to say that things weren't already normal to begin with. I mean, if you guys watched my last couple of videos, if you guys follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, you guys know that I, for the most part, have been doing pretty much the same thing I've been doing. Just obviously I'm not I'm not crunched full time. Well, I'm not working on my calls thinking, oh, I have to have it done by this time, so I can go to bed, or I have to have it done by this time so then I can drive it to work. I just had a lot more time, but I was doing pretty much the exact same thing I was doing beforehand. Just obviously, like I said, I've been more relaxed, which over these past 3 months has really brought into perspective what was important in life. That's actually what a good deal of the reorientation was obviously Daniel, my boss, my supervisor, my my bald-headed brother. That's kind of what he went over during the first half of the meeting, was just what went on during those 3 months, gym wise. Because obviously we still did classes, we still did classes, we still did this, we still did that. The gym was still running, just obviously nobody was for the most part in them. So he went over what went on there, went through some of the procedures of obviously how we need to adjust, and then we spent the other half of the meeting, at least before we did the walkthroughs and the walkthroughs and went over new procedures and such. We spent the other half of the meeting talking about just the negatives and the positives over the 3 months, which when it came to my time, I obviously I started off saying that, considering I hadn't seen a lot of my coworkers in 3 months, they all just looked great. Nobody really looked like they had taken the 3 months off. I mean, obviously some people had a little bit more facial hair, but aside from that, everybody looked like they were in shape. Everybody looked refreshed, which was awesome, which is what everybody said during the break, was it just gave them time to just finally relax. I mean, obviously some of them were a little bit concerned, considering that some of them had just started with the gym when the lockdown started. Some of them, it was pretty much the only thing they knew. Much like myself, it was the only thing they did on a day-to-day basis was wake up, go to the gym, teach, and then go home, rinse and repeat. So sorry, I kind of spaced out there for a second, but it just really brought into perspective what was important in life. I mean, considering that this is the first time in probably 12 years I actually had a vacation, like not really had to worry about anything. I mean, granted, yeah, I still taught classes, but you guys know I do that stuff in my sleep, which my girlfriend will tell you I do that too. Apparently, I teach in my sleep because she says that there have been times where I'll like yell instructions while I'm sleeping. So aside from like teaching the classes, this was the first vacation I'd actually had. I mean, granted, it was a stay-at-home vacation, but it was a vacation nonetheless. And it just gave me time to like think about how far I've come. Those of you that don't know me, outside of the cold culture, outside of knowing me for a couple years, from 2006 until about 2012. Yeah, so for about 6 years, I was the go-to guy here. I was the go-to guy here in San Diego in terms of the local community. I mean, which not to take anything away from Lonnie, Rex, not to take Paul, Daniel, not to take anything away from those guys. You guys definitely, all of us definitely had a hand in building the community into what it is today. But definitely from 2006 to 2012, like I was getting texts, calls, emails, Facebook messages, like almost daily, of people wanting to know more about local, where to train, what places taught it, what open gyms, just all that. And then, unfortunately, from 2012 on, I started working in a place that just really didn't allow me to flourish, which, if you guys know who I'm talking about, great. If not, I'm not even gonna do them the pleasure of even having their name said, like, because which if you're watching this and you're getting butthole, hey, you know what you did. Okay, there's a reason why, like, they're so infamous in the community, which, like, I try to look past that just because I personally at the time didn't have a lot of experience with them outside of just seeing them at events, seeing them at open gyms. But yeah, when I started working there, everybody was like, hey, we wish you the best, but good luck having them as managers. Which I could see why everybody was so concerned for me when I started working there. Which, I'm not gonna dwell on. That's in the past, it's in my rear view, but unfortunately, working there just really drained me. It just really took a lot out of me to the point to where I almost gave up teaching. I almost gave up teaching. I almost gave up just. Obviously, I was gonna keep training because, not training, but obviously I was gonna keep doing things, but I was gonna do them for myself. Which, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to stop teaching. Is that all the lessons I was teaching, all the videos I was making, they weren't really for myself. They were, to promote the gym, because they were to promote the gym. Because I had to do something. I had to do something to get people to come in. I had to show people that, hey, this is who teaches this class. This is what he's capable of. Let me teach you. Let me teach you to do what I can do. So, but then, unfortunately, it just got to a point to, I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I want to, but I just don't, I just don't feel like doing it anymore. Which sucks because, like I said, for 12 years, for 12 some years, it was all I knew. Teaching, vocal, viewing, tricking, it was all I knew. So the fact that I had come to the realization that I didn't want to do it anymore, it killed me. It killed me. So, luckily, I decided to take a step back. I did something else for a little while. I kind of tied up a couple loose ends. And then, thankfully, Daniel and them decided to reach out to me, and it brought me back. It brought back that fire that I thought had been extinguished. So, sorry to kind of dwell off a little bit there, but it all ties into what I was talking about how it really brought things into perspective. That it's like that, yeah, I wasn't in the gym, but I still had that gym mindset. I was still teaching. I was still, even though I was doing it voluntarily, I was putting myself out there for my students. And if anything, even though, I was putting myself out there for my students, I was also doing it for myself. I found myself having fun during classes again. Whereas, not to say that, when I started teaching classes at Jiminy, I was having fun. Like, no, probably like teaching classes, full Jiminy kids, full North County gymnastics, brought the fun back into, teaching. Just because, I was allowed to, not do whatever I want, but, kind of, really take the reins and just really, roll with it, which is what I do. Like when I teach classes, I'm not teaching a class as an instructor. I'm teaching a class, as an instructor who's also a student. So when I was doing these classes, I would demonstrate, but I would also do the exercises with them. So like when I would mess up, it kind of give, the students, whether it be in a Zoom class, whether it be in, a physical class before before the whole COVID crap happened, because I was doing it with them, it kind of gave them perspective. It's like, hey, this coach is no different from me. Like, yeah, he's teaching me how to do this stuff, but, he's no different from me. He's struggling just like me. He understands that, okay, this is hard, but, everything is hard before you get better at it. Everything is difficult before it gets easy. Every master was once a beginner. And everybody fell before they flew. So, yeah. So we talked, so like, getting back to the whole discussion, talking about positives, like, because everything was locked down, because most restaurants were closed down, because it was literally like a Six Flags Disneyland wait to get into shopping, to go grocery shopping. I was forced to kind of learn how to be, forced how to stay, forced to, do things at home. I was forced how to learn how to cook. I was forced to learn how to, do workouts at home, which even though, I was used to doing workouts outside of a gym, which cracked me up that some of my coworkers said that one of the negatives was they were sad that the LA Fitness was closed. So, even though I was used to walking out outside, having to do it in a confined space, having to do it in a bedroom, in a garage, in a living room, having to, really think outside the box in terms of how to do things, and make them specific to my discipline. Because obviously, you can do home workouts, but keeping them really specific to like core exercises, that's why I really had to think, literally think outside of the box. But it worked. It sparked my creativity again. All the ideas, all the creativity I thought I had lost was flooding back, and it just felt amazing. It just felt amazing to do all that again. So yeah, having to learn how to do things at home. I got the opportunity to work on my calls a little bit more, which again, because I wasn't on a deadline, because I didn't have to have them reassembled by a certain time. It was just good to just be able to just wrench, take my time, and not be. Obviously it was frustrating. Anybody who works on calls can tell you, it's never that easy. Every 30 minutes to 1 hour oil change is one broken bolt away from being a 5-hour to a weekend job. So, there's that. And then, like, oddly enough, a lot of people, and oddly enough, a lot of people gained weight, or some people, lost weight. I kind of stayed the same, which, got me thinking that, if anything, this is probably the least active active I've been my entire life, which a lot of you say like, yeah, of course this is the most inactive you've been. You're starting to get up there in age. You're starting to become, you're getting up there in age. So of course, you won't be able to, do all that stuff you did when you were younger. Which yeah, that's true. But at the same time, which kind of goes, which kind of like everybody, which kind of goes for everybody. Like, when you reach, when you reach that age, this age, 31 now, going to be 32. Like when you reach this age, you really realize how active you all throughout your life. Like, me, like me being, like me growing up with ADHD. Obviously, I was running all over the place when I was a little kid, and then adolescence. That was, that was my way of being active. Just running around the ball, playing soccer, rollerblading, skating, breakdancing, all that. And same thing when I became a teenager. When I became a teenager, started breakdancing, skating, playing Dance Dance Revolution. So, that was my way of staying active. And then when I got into my 20s, that's when I really started doing, that's when I really started getting serious into hardcore free running, martial tricking. So, that was that chapter of activity. Whereas now, I'm still doing all that stuff, but because I'm not doing it I'm still doing it frequently, obviously, because I'm teaching classes, doing pole and all that stuff, every day. Because I'm not doing it for as of an extended period of time, that's why, not to say that, I'm out of shape, I'm out of shape, but, I'm still pretty, but, I'm still pretty in shape, I'm out of shape, in shape, I'm kind of fit, kind of fat, but, it's because, I'm not spending that, I'm not spending that designated, there's a difference here, there's a difference here, teaching classes, you think, oh yeah, you teach classes all day, so, you're basically walking out all day, which, yes and no. Teaching classes, yes, it's active, but it's not really a walkout, because it's not designating time, for myself, which like I was talking about, when I was a little kid, I'd run around during recess, come home from school, do my homework, do all that stuff, and then that's when, like all that, then that's where like all that filled in, me being able to spend that 5 to 8, to 12 hours on designated activity, even when I even when I first started teaching, I would teach my classes, and then I would, teach my classes, and then I would stay after hours and walk out. I would train, I would do my own stuff. Whereas now, yeah, I'm teaching my classes, I'm doing all the stuff, but I'm not really designating as much time to my own personal training as I used to. I used to be able to, like I said, spend hours doing extra training. Was now, I'll do I'll do like a pre-class, workout just to get, pre-class workout, just to get me, pumped up for my own classes, to get me, ready to, give myself a pump before classes. And then afterwards, kind of same thing. I'll do, a little small cool down workout, a little cool down stretch, but aside from that, that's it. So, over these past 3 months having to stay at home, I found that, okay, because I'm not, because I'm teaching my classes now, because I have all this free time, I'm able to designate, an hour to an hour and a half to just pure training. So that's pretty much what I did. I spent, aside from my morning walk, morning jog, morning bike ride with my girlfriend, I would go and spend an extra hour walking out just on my own, whether it be doing cardio, doing cardio kickboxing on my own, doing some weightlifting, doing some outside training, or just taking another walk. Well, so that aspect of it. Well, I kind of feel like I'm coming, I'm slowly coming back to who I was before, before I kind of hit that ceiling that I was talking about earlier. Well, get back to where I was, in my early to mid 20s. But again, like I said, for somebody who's been at it this long, who's at my age, I'm actually still pretty like up there in terms of like fitness. Like a lot of the guys I used to train with, not to say that they've given up, or that they've fallen off, because much like myself, I've grown up. I can't, I'm not kill-free in the way that I can just leave my house and go to Balboa Park and start training training sporadically. I have bills to pay. I have, people who depend on me now. But yeah, so I'm trolling off again. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of just reflect with you guys, because I feel like these past 3 months have really brought into perspective a lot of things for a lot of people. Really brought into perspective what's important in life. It's really bridged a lot of, like, that was another thing that a lot of people talked about during the meeting, was that it gave them the opportunity to kind of reconnect with people, whether it be friends, family members, pets, activities that they just lost time and effort for, time and passion for. These 3 months has really been a growing experience for a lot of people. Though some people will think of it as like, oh, I lost my job, like this and that, like these past 3 months have been horrible. It's like, I've looked at these past 3 months as a blessing in disguise. Like, if these 3 months hadn't happened, like, I really like don't like want to think about what could have been. I mean, I'm pretty sure that things would kind of be the same, but at the same time, because I was at home so much, because I had all that time to work on myself, to work on things I just normally didn't have time for. It just brought life into a lot of things that I thought I didn't really think about as much before. So I was gonna say some other stuff. I'm pretty sure I'll mention it in the post, like I normally do with all these videos. If you guys haven't noticed, I always figure something out afterwards. But yeah, so just figured I'd talk with you guys a little bit while I drove home. I'm actually stopping off at a grocery to get some groceries real quick, because the meeting didn't last as long as I thought it was going to, because I thought that we were going to be there all day, doing that morning meeting, the recaps with everybody, the walkthroughs. I thought it was going to be like an all day thing, but they let us out early, so sorry, there's like a, let me flip this on really quick, you guys can see it. Yeah, see, there's like an old school, like, it's like an old school, like, not a Model T, but that generation of vehicle. But anyway, so yeah, gonna get some groceries right now. Figured I'd chat with you guys a little bit, talk about life a little bit. Reflect on these past 3 months, because these past 3 months have been different has been a different experience for different people, for obvious reasons. I mean, aside from COVID, aside from stay-at-home orders, aside from stimulus checks, unemployment, protesting and rioting, there's just so much happened in these past 3 months that it just really goes to show that life is precious. So yeah, that was my little chat with you guys. I'm gonna go buy some stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.